You're listening to the radio. I want to say that first, plainly, because it might be the last true sentence I get to say tonight. And I want it on the record that somebody said something true. You're listening to the radio. It's still working. That's the good news. That's the whole of the good news, so hold it close. My name doesn't matter, and I'm going to keep it that way. Not because I'm being dramatic, but because names have started to cost something out here, and I'm not paying that price for vanity. Call me the man at the desk, the man who found the door unlocked. I am not a broadcaster. I want that clear too. 8 days ago, I sold irrigation parts, pumps, valves, gaskets. I knew nothing about any of this equipment until Tuesday, and I've learned the rest by breaking it. The person who used to sit in this chair is not here. I'm not going to tell you what happened to him, partly because I don't fully know, and partly because you can already guess. And your guess is kind enough. It's day 7, 1 week since it reached the cities. Not started reached. That distinction is going to matter, and I'll come back to it, because the thing everybody got wrong in the first 2 days is still killing people on day 7, and I would like to stop that if I can. Here's what I can tell you right now, straight. The power in this building is on a generator with maybe 40 hours of diesel. The transmitter is old, which means it's simple, which means it's alive. I am reaching, best I can figure, most of a state. Maybe farther after dark. Radio does strange, generous things after dark. And there are people out there. I know because they've been leaving marks. I'll explain the marks. But first, I need you to do one thing. If you're moving right now, walking, driving, anything, I need you to stop moving and listen for the next few minutes. Not because moving is dangerous, because what I'm about to say could save your life, and you can't afford to half hear it. Sit down, turn me up. I'll wait. Okay, you're still here. Good. I want to start by correcting the thing everyone was told at the beginning, because if you survived the first week on the old rules, you survived by luck, and luck runs out on a schedule. In the first 48 hours, every official voice said the same 3 things. Stay indoors, wait for instructions, do not travel. And for about a day and a half, that was decent advice. It stopped being decent advice the moment the cities filled up. Here's what nobody said clearly, so I'll say it clearly. They don't hunt. I've watched this now for 7 days, from a second-floor window with good sight lines. And I'm telling you what I've seen, not what I was told. They don't chase. They don't sniff you out through walls. They drift. They pool in low places, in doorways, in the mouths of parking garages, wherever the ground funnels them. They move toward sound, and toward light, and toward warmth. But slowly, the way water finds the lowest point in a floor. Slowly. Which means stay indoors and wait turned every apartment building in America into a container. People sealed themselves in, made noise, ran generators, ran fans, ran fear. And the drift found the buildings and pooled at the base of them and waited, because it has nothing but time. And the people inside ran out of water on day 4. The ones who lived are the ones who moved. Quietly, in the gray hours, between the pools. I'm not telling you to run outside right now. I'm telling you the map in your head is wrong. And a wrong map gets you killed just as dead as no map. The safe thing and the deadly thing swapped places somewhere around day 3. And if nobody told you, I'm telling you now. There's a sound they make. I'm not going to describe it well because I can't. It's not a moan. That's a movie sound. It's lower than that, and it's not really coming from their throats. It's more like the sound a large room makes when a lot of people are breathing in it at once. except none of them are breathing. When you hear that sound get louder, it doesn't mean they're closer. It means there are more of them. There's a difference, and the difference is your window. I'll teach you to hear it. Stay with me. Let me tell you about the marks, because the marks are the reason I'm still talking instead of just sitting here counting diesel. 3 days ago, I did something stupid and necessary. I left this building in the gray light before dawn, and I went 400 yards to the highway overpass because I needed to see the road, and I needed to see whether anyone else was seeing it too. Somebody had been writing on the concrete. Spray paint, chalk, one section scratched in with what looked like a screwdriver. And it wasn't panic writing. It wasn't help or God forgive us or the phone numbers of the dead. It was a list. A cold, careful, useful list, written by someone who was thinking and who wanted the next person to think too. It said, water flows, they don't. Meaning, I believe, cross-running water creeks, storm drains with flow, anything moving because they don't follow into current. I can't fully verify that yet, but someone else believed it enough to carve it. It said, night is quieter than you think, which lines up with what I've seen. In full dark, they slow down almost completely. They don't sleep. I don't think they do anything as human as sleep, but they settle. The dangerous hours are dusk and the first hour of light, when the world is changing and they're drifting toward the change. And at the bottom, in the screwdriver scratches, deeper than the rest, it said, we went north, follow the high ground, and an arrow. Somebody organized. Somebody thought it through and left a trail for strangers they'd never meet. And then they went north on the high ground. That's the second piece of good news. And now you've had 2, which is a rich night by current standards. I stood at that overpass for maybe 90 seconds, which was already too long, and I read the whole list twice so I'd have it exact. And then I came back here. On the way back, I understood why this station matters. Whoever wrote on that concrete could only talk to whoever walked under that bridge. I can talk to all of you at once. That's the only reason I'm in this chair. Not courage, reach. Now let me tell you what happened tonight. Because tonight is why I turned the transmitter on. Tonight is different, and I need to explain how before we go any further, because everything after this depends on you believing me about tonight. For 6 days, the drift has been predictable. Dusk brings them up. Dark settles them down. First light stirs them. Then the sun burns off the worst of it. And the roads go quiet enough to move. 6 days of that. You could set a watch by it, and I did. And it kept me alive. Tonight the pattern broke. The sound started early, not at dusk an hour before. And it didn't settle when the dark came down. It's still going. I can hear it right now, under everything, through 2 feet of cinder block. That low, full room breathing that isn't breathing. And it is not settling. It's building. I went to the window 40 minutes ago. The street below is a river. Not a pool anymore, a river, moving. All in one direction. North to south, straight down the avenue, hundreds of them. And they are not drifting. They are walking. With purpose. With a direction. Something I have never seen them have. I don't know why. I want to be honest with you the whole way through. And the honest thing is, I don't know why they're moving tonight, or why they're moving together, or where they're going. Every explanation I've built in 7 days just broke against the window glass. But here is what I do know. And it's why I turn this thing on instead of hiding in the dark like a sane man. If they've stopped settling at night, and then the safe hours are gone. Everyone who survived the way I survived, by moving in the dark and hiding in the light, Everyone doing that right now is about to walk out into a night that no longer protects them. I have to reach them before they move. So I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to tell you everything I've learned and everything I see in real time, for as long as this generator holds and this voice holds. Don't move yet. Don't go out into it. Let me be your eyes first. I did something in the last 20 minutes that I need to report, because it changed what I think is happening. And you deserve the change as it happens, instead of me handing you conclusions cooked clean of the doubt. I tried to count them. Stupid maybe. But I'm a parts man. My whole working life was inventory. How many valves on the shelf? How many gaskets in the drawer? Does the count match the ledger? When something's wrong, you count. It's the only reflex I trust. So I stood at the window with the lights off, and I counted the ones passing under the street lamp, the one working street lamp on this block, buzzing on some circuit that hasn't figured out it's supposed to be dead. I counted them crossing that pool of orange light. One every second, roughly. 60 a minute. For 20 minutes. That's over 1,000. Down one street. In one town that before all this had maybe 8,000 people in it. The count doesn't add up. Not even close. There were never enough people here to make that river. Which means they're coming from somewhere else. Which means the river in my street started in another street, in another town. And it's been gathering the whole way down, like a flood picking up everything that isn't nailed to the ground. And they're all going the same direction. I keep coming back to that. Not scattered, not drifting to sound and light. Aimed. Something south of here is pulling them, or something north of here is pushing them, and I can't tell which. And the difference is enormous. If something's pulling them south, then south is where you must never go. If something's pushing them from the north, if there's a reason they're all fleeing the high ground, then the sign on that overpass, "We went north, follow the high ground," just became the worst advice on the continent. And I've been repeating it to you like scripture. I don't know which it is. I want to know before I tell you which way to run, because I have your lives in my mouth right now, and I feel every ounce of that. So here's what I need. If you're near a working radio that transmits, not just receives a ham set, a CB in a truck, anything, and you can hear me, and you're north of the state line, I need you to tell me what's up there. What are you seeing? Which way are they moving where you are? I'll leave a gap. Talk into it. Somebody answered. I have to steady myself for a second, because I did not actually expect it to work. And it worked. And now I have another human voice in this room for the first time in 7 days. And I'd almost forgotten what it does to you. It came in weak and full of static on the CB rig. I've got bridged to this desk with about 6 feet of borrowed wire and a lot of hope. A woman's voice. No, I'm not going to use her name. We agreed on that. She agreed too the second I explained. Names cost something now. But she's real. She's north. She's in a grain elevator about 90 miles up the valley. And she's been up there for 5 days with her son and 2 other families. Here's what she told me, and I'm giving it to you as close to word for word as I can hold it. She said the high ground is not safe anymore. She said for the first 4 days, it was the safest place there was. They came up out of the towns and the low fields, and the high ground stayed clear. She said that's why people went north. That's who wrote on my overpass. Good people, right instinct, 4 days ago. Then she said, tonight they started climbing. She watched them come up the grain elevator road in the dark, in a line, and they've never done that. And they didn't stop at dusk. And they didn't settle in the dark, and they are still coming. Same as my street, same night, 90 miles apart. Which tells me it's not local. Whatever broke the pattern broke it everywhere at once. or close enough to everywhere that 90 miles is nothing. And then she said the thing I can't stop turning over. She said the ones climbing toward her aren't coming toward the noise. They cut their generator 2 nights ago. They've been silent, dark, cold, doing everything right. The drift shouldn't find them, and it found them anyway. And it's climbing, and it's not coming for the sound. It's coming for the high ground itself. I asked her why. She went quiet for a long time, long enough that I thought I'd lost the signal. Then she said, because that's where the living went. And I sat here in the dark and understood that the pattern didn't break. We just finally learned enough of the pattern to be scared of it. Stay with me. It gets worse, and then I think it gets clearer. Let me put together what I've got, out loud, so you can check my thinking. Because I'm one man at a desk, and I have been wrong before. And the cost of being wrong tonight is more than I can carry alone. For the first 4 days, they moved toward sound, light, and warmth. Simple, blind, a moth logic. And the living learned it fast. Go dark, go quiet, go cold, get high, and the drift passes you by. But here's what I missed, and what I think most everyone missed. The living all learned the same lesson at the same time. We all went dark, we all went cold, we all went to the high ground. We all did the smart thing. And the smart thing was identical for millions of people, which means we didn't scatter, we sorted. We sorted ourselves onto the ridgelines and into the grain elevators and up the northern roads, all of us, together, following the same good advice. We made ourselves a map. We drew ourselves in. And I don't think these things are smart. I want to be careful there. I'm not telling you they think. I've looked into what used to be faces, and there's nobody answering. But they don't have to be smart. They only have to move toward where the living are. And after 7 days, there are simply fewer places the living can be. The low ground emptied. The loud places emptied. Everything that was easy to reach, they've already reached. What's left is us. On the high ground, being quiet, being cold, being exactly where the last of the warmth is. We didn't hide from them. We concentrated ourselves for them. And now the drift, which has all the time in the world and no need to hunt. It's simply flowing to the only places left with anything in them. The pattern never changed. The board just cleared until the only pieces left were us. And now the tide is coming to the last dry corner because it's the last dry corner. That's my theory. I'm not proud of it. It means every survivor listening to me right now who did the smart thing is standing in the exact place the smart thing was always going to funnel them. Which means the answer isn't higher. The answer isn't quieter. We've maxed out quiet and high. We already did the obvious thing as hard as it can be done, and it bought us a week. The answer is something nobody's tried yet, because trying it feels insane. The answer, I think, is to stop hiding and start moving. Together, loud, in daylight. Let me tell you why. Here's the idea. And I need you to hear the whole thing before you decide I've lost my mind. Because the first half sounds like suicide, and the second half is the part that matters. They're slow. That never stopped being true. Even tonight, moving with purpose, moving all together, they're walking, not running. A person at a steady jog outpaces them. A car at any speed outpaces them like they're standing still. Their entire threat has always been that they gather and they wait. And you eventually have to come to them for water, for food, for air. They win by attrition, by being patient while you get thirsty. So you don't beat them by out-hiding them. You've been hiding for a week, and it just funneled you into a corner. You beat them by not being where they gather, by moving faster than they pool, by treating them like weather instead of like wolves. and daylight is the key. And here's the part I only understood tonight. It was never that the sun hurt them. I said that early on, and I was wrong, and I'm correcting it now on the record. The sun doesn't burn them. What daylight does is let you see the pools before you walk into them. That's all. That's everything. 90% of the people who died in daylight died walking blind around a corner into a pool they couldn't have seen at night either. The difference is at night, you can't see it coming, and in daylight, you can. So the plan is not hide until a rescue. There is no rescue. I've said 7 days now on a working transmitter, and no official voice has answered me once. And I've stopped waiting for one, and you should too. And I'm sorry to be the one who tells you. The plan is, move in daylight, along the routes we can see, in numbers, fast, from high ground that's filling up to somewhere the drift hasn't reached yet. And to do that, thousands of us scattered across a dark map have to move at the same time, in coordination, without ever seeing each other. There's exactly one thing that can coordinate people who can't see each other. You're listening to it. That's why I'm in this chair. I want to talk about the silence, because it's been sitting in the corner of this whole broadcast, and I've been walking around it. And that's cowardice, and I said I'd give you the truth. Turn your dial. Right now, if you can, without losing me, remember roughly where I am and come back. Turn it slow across the band and tell me what you hear. I've done it 100 times in 7 days. Here's what's there. There's me. There's a handful of automated things. A NOAA weather loop, still reading a forecast for a Tuesday that already happened. Cheerful and dead. Temperatures and a chance of rain for a world that isn't listening. There's one religious station somewhere southeast of me running the same 40-minute sermon on a loop. And I've come to hate that sermon, and also to need it. Because as long as it loops, I know the tower's still standing. And there's the emergency band. The one that's supposed to be full. The one every drill and every childhood test of the emergency broadcast system promised would come alive with calm, authoritative voices telling us where to go. It's a tone. A single, steady tone. It's been a tone for 6 days. Not the alert tone that precedes a message, just the tone. The one that plays before somebody speaks, holding, waiting for a somebody who never steps up to the microphone. I used to find that unbearable. Now I find it clarifying. Because that tone means the system worked exactly as designed, right up until the moment it needed a living person to speak into it. And there was no living person left to speak. The lights are on. The chair is empty. All across the country, in every state EOC and every network hub, the lights are on and the chairs are empty. And the tone is holding for a voice that isn't coming. So when I said, stop waiting for rescue, this is what I meant. It's not that they abandoned us. It's that they turned out to be people, same as us, sitting in rooms same as this one. And the drift found their rooms the same as it found everyone's. Because there was never a they. There was only ever all of us. And now there's fewer of us. And the tone holds. Which means the only voices left on this dial are the ones who decided to sit down in an empty chair and start talking. Me, the looping preacher who might already be dead with his sermon outliving him. The woman in the grain elevator with her borrowed CB. We're it, whoever's left and willing to speak. That's the emergency broadcast system now. It's us. It's whoever's brave enough or stupid enough to say something true into a microphone. Fine, I volunteer. The woman in the grain elevator came back on the CB about 10 minutes ago, and I need to tell you what she said. And then I need to tell you what I decided, because I made a decision tonight that I might not survive. And you should hear the reasoning while I'm still able to give it. She's not alone up there. I said that. 2 other families, her son. And her son is 9, and he's the one who noticed the thing that changed my whole understanding of tonight. And I want to give a 9-year-old his due even without his name. He's been keeping a chart. Kids do that, they make order where they can. He's got a notebook, and for 5 days, he's been marking down every time the sound gets louder and every time it fades, tick marks, morning and night. Because his mother told him watching is a job, and gave it to him to keep his hands busy and his mind off the rest. And he noticed that the sound doesn't just rise and fall with dusk and dark. He noticed it rises and falls with them, with the living. Every time one of the families up there made a run to the truck for supplies, the sound rose an hour later. Every time they went dead quiet for a full day, the sound thinned. A 9-year-old with a notebook found the correlation that all the experts who never got to a microphone would have called anecdotal. They're not tracking sound. They're not tracking light. Those were the surface of it. They're tracking us. Somehow, at a distance, slow and sure. They are flowing toward wherever the living have concentrated. And they update. When we move, the tide changes course an hour behind, like a shadow that lags, which is terrifying, and I've felt the full weight of it sitting here. But then I turned it over, the way you turn a broken part over, looking for where it cracked. And I saw the other face of it. If they lag an hour behind us, if the tide takes an hour to change course when we move, then we can steer them. We can be a decoy, a voice, a light, a loud stationary thing that says, here are the living, right here, come to this corner, and hold it, and hold it, and pull the whole tide toward one empty place, while everyone who's actually alive slips out the other side in that 1-hour gap. You'd need a loud, bright, fixed point that the drift would flow toward. Something broadcasting, something on high ground with power, something that stays put and stays loud on purpose while everyone else runs. You'd need this building. You'd need this chair. I told you I made a decision. I think you already see it. Let me explain it slowly, because it depends on timing. And the timing depends on you. I'm going to say the plan once, plainly and completely. And then I'm going to repeat the moving parts until they're carved into you. The way that stranger carved water flows they don't into the overpass, because tonight I'm the overpass, and you're the strangers walking under, and I only get one chance to leave the mark right. Here it is. At first light, real light, when you can see the far end of a street, not the gray hour before everyone who can move, moves. North is out. I was wrong about north. The high ground is filling. You move by water. Follow any creek, any river, any storm channel with flow in it, downstream, on the far bank from wherever the drift is thickest. Water flows. They don't. The stranger was right, and the woman up the valley confirms it. The tide doesn't cross moving current. It pools at the edge and stops. You move fast in daylight, so you can see the pools before you reach them. You move in whatever numbers you can gather, because a group can post a watcher while the rest carry water. And one set of eyes on the drift is the difference between a bad morning and a last one. And while you move, this is my part. I stay here. I keep this transmitter loud, and I keep these lights on, and I keep this voice going. And I make this building the loudest, brightest, most alive-sounding place on the map. I am going to be the here are the living sign that the tide flows toward. I'm going to hold the corner. The tide lags an hour. So the math is simple, and I need you to hold it. When I tell you it's time, and I'll tell you clear, I'll count it down. You have roughly 1 hour from the moment the drift near you starts pulling toward me before it realizes you've gone and turns back. 1 hour to get to the water and get downstream and get gone. 1 hour that I buy by being the brightest wrong answer on the board. That's it. That's the whole plan. Move at light, move by water, move fast, move together, and I'll pull the tide the other way and hold it as long as this generator and this throat hold out. I need you to do something now. In the dark, before light. While there's time, I need you to find your water. Look at wherever you are and find the nearest moving current and figure out which bank keeps you clear. Do it now. Don't wait for me to count. When I count, you should already know your first 50 steps by heart. Go look. Come back. I'll keep the lights on. Before we go any further, I owe you my doubts, because a man who only gives you his confidence is selling you something. And I've got nothing to sell and no reason to lie to people I'll never meet. Here's what could be wrong with my plan. The lag might not be an hour. The boy's chart says roughly an hour, 90 miles from here, watching a few families. That's not science. That's one kid and a notebook, and I'm about to bet lives on it. Where you are, it might be 40 minutes. It might be 20. So don't spend your whole hour. Treat it as half of what I say, and you'll live on the margin. The water rule might have exceptions. I've seen it hold. I haven't seen it hold everywhere. If you get to your creek and the far bank isn't clear, don't stand there arguing with my voice. Trust your eyes over your radio. Always, every time. I am 400 miles of dark away from most of you, and I cannot see your creek. You can. And here's the one that keeps my hands cold on this desk. I might be a worse decoy than I think. This is one building in one town. My reach is good, but it's not the country. I can pull the tide off this valley, maybe the next. I can't pull it off yours if yours is 1,000 miles from mine. So this plan only works if it spreads, if the woman in the grain elevator becomes a decoy up there, and someone with a truck and a bullhorn becomes a decoy in the next county. And the looping preacher, if he's alive, stops looping and starts holding his own corner. That's the real plan, under the plan. Not me saving you. Me showing you the shape of the thing so that everyone with a loud fixed point becomes a corner. And every corner buys an hour. And the living move between the corners like water finding its own way down. I can't do that alone. I'm not trying to be the hero of this. I sold irrigation parts. I'm just the first person in reach of this microphone who did the math out loud. So if you've got reach. If you've got a loud thing in a high place, you're a corner now too. Light it up when I say. Deep breath. It's almost light. The sky is turning. Not light yet, that steel color that comes before. When the street lamp starts to look yellow instead of white, and the shapes in the street stop being shapes and start being what they are. The river in the street has slowed. I want to report that carefully because it matters. They didn't stop. They slowed. And they're bunching up now at the south end of the block, where the avenue narrows by the old bank, packing in against each other. And I've never seen them do that either. I've never seen them acknowledge each other. And I'm still not sure they are. It might just be that the front of the river hit something and the back of the river kept flowing and now they're stacked. But it looks, from up here in the steel light, like a crowd waiting for a door to open. I'm going to start the count soon. Before I do, I need to give you the last things, the things I'd want said if the generator quits mid-sentence. And I want them said while my voice is steady. To the woman up the valley, if you're still on the CB and can hear me over the air, even if I can't hear you, you were right, and your boy was right, and I hope you're already moving. Don't hold your corner as long as I hold mine. You've got a son. Corners are for people who don't. That's not sad. It's just sorting. Same as the drift, everyone finds their right place in the flow. Mine's this chair. Yours is downstream with him. Go. To whoever rode on my overpass a week ago and went north on the high ground. I don't know if you made it. The high ground was the wrong call by morning. But it was the right call when you made it. And you left the mark. And the mark taught me the water rule. And the water rule is going to move thousands of people out of the low country today. You never knew any of us, and you saved us anyway. That's the whole of what a person can do now. And you did it. And to you. Right now, hand near the dial. First 50 steps memorized, water picked out. Watching your own steel-colored sky. You don't owe me anything and you're not abandoning me. I'm choosing the chair. Loudly. On purpose. It's the one useful thing a parts man with no family and a working transmitter can do. And I'd rather spend it than sit on it. When the light comes full, I count. When I hit 0, I go loud, and you go. Almost. Almost. Get your feet under you. It's light. I can see the far end of the street. I can see the whole river of them stacked at the south end. And I can see, and I want to be exact, I can see that the north end of the block, the way toward the county road and the creek beyond it, is clear, empty. The tide pulled south in the night and left the north bank open, and the county road runs down to the Mill Creek Bridge, and Mill Creek is running high this week. And the far bank of Mill Creek is your first clear ground. That's your road out of this valley. County road north to Mill Creek, cross the bridge, downstream on the far bank. Say it back to yourself. County road, Mill Creek, far bank, downstream. Here's the count. When I hit 0, I turn everything up. Every light in this building, the transmitter to full. And I start making the kind of noise that says the living are here, all of them, right here, come and get us. And the tide, an hour behind, starts turning toward me. And you have that hour. Use half. If you're in this valley, you go at 0. If you're somewhere else, 90 miles, 400 miles. Wherever my voice is thinning out to nothing right now, you don't have my building to pull your tide. So you be your own corner, or you find one. And you go when your own eyes tell you the near ground's clear. I can't count you down. I can only show you it can be done. Ready. I'm turning up the lights. You can't hear that, but I can feel it, the room getting brighter. The generator taking the load, that hum climbing. 5. The stack at the south end is shifting. They feel it already. Faster than an hour. Maybe the lag's shorter this close. Doesn't change anything for you. Go on my 0 regardless. You're at the far end of the block, you've got the margin. 4. Front bank of them is turning. Turning toward me. Good. That's good. That's the plan working. Come on. This way. Here are the living. Right here. 3. North end still clear. Still clear. Your road is open. 2. I'm not scared. I want that on the record. I sold pumps and valves my whole life, and none of it meant anything. And this means something, and I'm not scared. 1. Go. Go now. You're gone. Most of you. I hope. I'm going to keep talking anyway, because the ones still in earshot need the hour narrated so they can pace it. And because a voice that keeps going is what makes this a corner and not just a bright, empty building. They're coming up the block toward me. All of them. The whole river reversed, and it's flowing north now. Toward these lights, toward this hum, toward the loudest, wrongest, most alive-sounding thing in the valley. It's working exactly like I said. And it is the worst thing I've ever watched, and I'm going to keep watching it because that's the job. If you're moving, you should be at the county road by now. Steady jog, not a sprint. You've got the hour, and sprinting spends legs you'll need at the creek. Watcher at the back of your group, eyes behind you, calling out if anything's closer than a block. The rest of you eyes forward, finding the next clear stretch. They're at the base of the building now. I can hear them against the doors. That full room sound, right up against the cinder block. And it's not settling, and it won't. Not while I'm loud. That's the deal I made. As long as I'm the brightest answer, they stay here asking me the question. And they don't ask it of you. You should be seeing the Mill Creek Bridge. It's a low concrete span, guardrails rusted orange. You can't miss it. The creek's running fast under it, brown and loud with the week's rain. That sound, that's the sound that saves you. Water flows. They don't. Cross it. Get to the far bank. They're in the stairwell. I can hear that too. The plan always had this part in it, and I always knew it, and it's fine. It's the trade. An hour of me for a valley of you. Best trade a parts man ever made. Far bank now. You're on the far bank. Turn downstream. Keep the water on your left and the sound of it in your ears, and don't stop. And in 20 minutes, you'll be out of range of everything that turned toward my lights. And the drift will still be here at my door, asking me, only me, and you'll be gone. That's the hour. I'm narrating you clear of it right now. They're on my floor, down the hall. I want to tell you the last thing while my voice is still level. And then I'm going to do one more thing that I haven't told you yet, because I only just thought of it. And I think it's the real point. Stay on the dial one more minute. Here's what I haven't told you. And I saved it not to be dramatic, but because I only understood it in the last few minutes, watching the whole tide flow to my door. And it's the most important thing I'll say tonight. So let this be the part you keep. I was wrong that I'm a decoy. A decoy is a trick. A decoy is a lie you tell the enemy. And I set this up like a trick, pull the tide, hold the corner, buy the hour, spend myself. Very brave, very grim, very much a man in a movie. But I've been watching them come to these lights for 10 minutes now, watching them pack the street and fill the stairwell. And they're not being tricked. They're doing exactly what they've done for 7 days, flowing to where the living concentrated. And I'm the last concentration of alive in this valley on purpose, because everyone else left. I didn't fool them. I just volunteered to be the place they go. Which means this isn't a sacrifice play. It's a sorting. Same word I keep coming back to. Everything in this whole week has been sorting the living sorting on to high ground. The drift sorting toward the living, water sorting them from us. And the plan that works isn't heroes tricking monsters. It's people choosing where in the flow they belong, honestly, and standing there. Some people belong downstream, carrying their kids. Some people belong at the corner, holding the light. Neither one's braver. They're just different places in the same current. And the whole thing only works because both places get filled. So here's the real instruction, the one under all the others, the one I want carved deepest. Don't wait for a hero. There isn't one, and there doesn't need to be one. There need to be corners, held by ordinary people who did the math, and decided their spot in the flow was the loud fixed one. And there need to be rivers of the living moving between the corners. And there need to be people brave enough to run, and people stubborn enough to stay. And it is all the same act. It's all just people deciding, out loud, where they stand and then standing there while it matters. I decided. This chair, these lights, this valley bought and paid for. Now you decide yours. And whatever you pick running or holding, downstream or at the corner, you say it out loud to somebody, the way I said it to you. Because the saying is, what turns a scared person into a fixed point other people can steer by. That's the whole thing. That's everything I know. They're at the door of this room now. 2 more things. Fast. First thing. Fast. Because there isn't much time, and this one's practical. When this transmitter goes quiet, and it will, either the generator or the door, one or the other, soon this frequency stays. The equipment doesn't die when I do. This is an old rig, simple. And the automated carrier will hold on this channel for a while after I stop talking. A dead tone, same as the emergency band, holding for a voice. Don't let it hold empty like theirs did. If you make it downstream, if you find high ground and power, and a way to transmit. And there are stations like this one in every county. Every one of them with an empty chair right now, you find one. And you sit down in it, and you become the corner for the next valley. You be the voice on the dead tone. You count the next group of strangers down to their zero. You leave the mark on the next overpass. I'm not passing you a torch. I hate that idea. The noble handoff, the dying man's gift. This isn't that. This is just the next shift. Somebody has to be at the desk when the sun comes up. And it can't be me because the door's about to open. So it's you. Not because you're chosen. Because you're there, and the chair's empty, and the tone is holding. That's the first thing. Fill the empty chairs. All of them. Turn the dead tone back into a country full of voices, one ordinary person at a time, until every valley has a corner and every corner has a river of the living flowing safe between them. Second thing, the far bank of Mill Creek. The last group of you should be reaching the wide part now, where the creek meets the river and both of them run loud and fast, and the drift can't follow across either. There's a rail line on the far side, raised up on a berm, dry and clear and running north-south for 40 miles, with water on both flanks the whole way. High ground, moving water on both sides, long sight lines. It's the safest ground in this whole region, and I only just worked it out from the map on this wall. And I'm giving it to you as my last piece of inventory. Follow the rail berm. Water on both sides. You'll be able to see anything coming for a mile. That's your road out of the whole valley, not just my street. The door. The door's opening. I'm still here. Voice still level. Say it with me one more time so you've got it. Water flows. They don't. Move at light. Move by water. Move fast. Move together. The tide lags. Use half the hour, never all of it. Fill the empty chairs. Every dead tone gets a voice. Follow the rail berm north. Water on both sides. Long sight. You've got it. I can tell you've got it because I've said it enough times that it's not my voice in your head anymore. It's yours. That's how the mark works. That's how a stranger on an overpass saves people he'll never meet. The words stop belonging to the one who said them and start belonging to whoever needs them. And then it doesn't matter what happens to the mouth that first said them. So it doesn't matter what happens to me. I need you to actually believe that, not as comfort, as fact. The plan doesn't live in this room. It's already out there, in 100 cars on 100 county roads, in a woman and her boy on a rail berm 90 miles north, in whoever's going to sit down in the next empty chair and count the next zero. It left this building an hour ago, and it's not coming back, and neither am I. And both of those are fine. They're in the room now. I'm not going to describe it. You don't need it, and I don't want to spend my last clear minute on it. There's nothing in what's coming through that door that thinks or wants or knows me. It's just the flow, arriving where the living are, doing the only thing it does. No malice in it. That almost makes it easier. You can't be betrayed by a tide. I'm going to leave the transmitter on. I'm going to leave the lights on. I'm going to stay in the chair, because the longer this corner holds bright and loud, the further downstream you get. And every second I keep talking is another few yards between you and them. So I'll keep talking. Not with a plan anymore. The plan's done, delivered, yours. I'll just keep making noise, because noise from this corner is the last useful thing I own. And I'd rather spend it than sit on it. And I think I already said that at the count. And I meant it then, and I mean it more now. You're listening to the radio. It's still working. Hold that close. You're still listening. I can feel that even though I can't hear you. Somebody's still out there on the dial. And as long as somebody is, I've got a reason to keep the level up. So here it is, the last of it. And I'm going to keep it warm, because I don't want the last thing on this frequency to be fear. The sun's all the way up now. Full light on the street. I can see it through the window, past the shapes in the room. Ordinary morning light on an ordinary street. Dumpsters and a bus bench, and that one street lamp still buzzing, forgetting its day. The world didn't end. That's the thing nobody tells you. The world's right there, sunlit, waiting. It's just full up with a flow now. And we have to learn to move through it like weather. And we will, because you already are, right now, on a rail berm with water on both sides, learning it with your feet. I keep thinking I should have something bigger to say, some last line worth a life. But I sold irrigation parts. And the truest thing I know is that a system works when every part does its small job and doesn't pretend to be a different part. The valve doesn't apologize for not being a pump. It just holds the pressure it was made to hold. So that's me. I held the pressure. The line held. You got downstream. I'm going to stop giving instructions now, because there aren't any left. And a voice that keeps inventing orders past the end is just scared of the quiet. I'm not scared of the quiet. I'm going to sit here in the light with the transmitter open and let it be quiet for a second. The good kind, the kind you earn. There. Hear that? That's not the dead tone. The dead tone is a system holding for a voice that never comes. This is different. This is a voice that came and said its whole piece and got to stop on its own terms. Fill the chairs. Follow the water. Say it out loud to somebody. You're listening to the radio. For one more minute, so am I. Then it'll just be carrier, and then it'll be yours. If you're the one who finds this frequency later days from now, a week, sitting down tired in some other town, with a working rig and an empty chair, and no idea what to say, this last part is for you. Everyone else, you've got your road. Go walk it. You don't need to hear a stranger talk himself quiet. But you, the next voice, listen. You're going to sit down, and the tone's going to be holding, and you're going to feel like you have nothing to offer, no authority, no plan, no right to the microphone. Sold pumps, sold shoes, taught 4th grade, drove a truck, doesn't matter. You're going to feel like a fraud in an official chair. Sit down anyway. You don't need authority. Nobody's coming with authority. The chairs with authority are empty, and their tones are holding, and they will hold forever, because authority was always just people. And the people are downstream now, or gone. What's left is you and a microphone, and whatever true thing you know. So say the true thing. Say where the water is. Say which way the drift moved last night. Say you're scared, and say it anyway. Correct yourself when you're wrong. You'll be wrong. I was wrong about north. I was wrong about the sun. I was wrong about half of what I said in my first hour. And the corrections were more useful than the certainties ever were. Give people your doubts. They can carry your doubts. It's your false confidence that gets them killed. And when your generator runs low or your door starts to give, don't go quiet apologizing. Go quiet having said your whole piece. Leave the mark, leave the frequency. Fill the chair so well that the next tired stranger who finds it knows exactly what to do. Because you already showed them, the way an overpass showed me, the way I'm showing you. That's it. That's the whole inheritance. A frequency, an empty chair, And the only instruction that ever mattered. Say something true, and stay until you've said it all. The light's warm on the desk, the line held. Somebody's still listening. Sit down, turn me up. Then take it from here. You're listening to the radio. Go on. This is Lost Signal Broadcast. Subscribe and turn on the bell for the next signal. Leave your report below. Until then, keep your radio close.